Hey folks, wanted to let our Bay Area listeners know about a way you can see the Vicious Cycle hosts live. We'll be appearing at Sleepover with Sam and Molly on August 15th at 7 p.m. at Piano Fight in San Francisco. Sleepover is a variety show hosted by Sam DeSalvo and Molly Sanchez, and it's dedicated to nostalgia, comedy, and staying up past lights out. Sounds pretty good to me. Your Vicious Cycle host will be singing our hits from the podcast and one never before heard track. So check out our Facebook page for a link to get tickets. Now, on to our regularly scheduled programming.
It may be primal, it may be vital, but it makes you homicidal. It's a vicious, it's a vicious, it's a vicious.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Vicious Cycle, the podcast about periods and the people who get them. I'm Meg T.
I'm Meg H.
And I'm Kate.
Woo! Okay, we are dedicating this episode and our next couple to tampons.
Tampons, 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 tampons.
Tampon me,
Tampon me.
tampon me. I'm bleeding through my vag. Okay.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Great.
Awesome.
Well, in today's episode, we're just gonna have a good old-fashioned gab sesh and learn about each other's tampon usage. We're also gonna cover the history of tampons and a little background of marketing from 30s to yesteryear.
I'm so excited. Yesteryear.
Yeah.
You mean yesterday?
You mean, the 80s.
Oh, yeah. Yesteryear is a scientific term for the 80s.
The official.
I'm so excited for this episode,
Me too.
you guys.
Me
I
too.
am delighted to finally openly talk about tampons with you guys.
I can't wait to learn things about you guys that I don't know.
It's the best.
Oh boy.
You guys, before we start, I have to tell you, you know how we've been talking about our families listening to our podcast?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so
Hi,
Mom and Dad.
Hi, moms and dads and aunts and uncles.
Yeah.
So I was at work today, minding my own business. My phone buzzes. Text message. I think maybe it's my husband or it's you guys. It's not. It's my mom. And she texted me the following.
Oh boy.
You have a third nipple? And I just froze and then laughed out loud in my newsroom for 20 minutes. And everyone's like, what? I'm like, my mom's listening to my podcast.
That could be a whole Twitter handle. My mom listens to my podcast, The Fallout.
Oh, man. Anyway, so hi,
man.
Kathleen. Hope
Hi,
you're listening.
Kathleen.
Hi, Kathleen.
And I do, and you didn't notice it, and it's upsetting.
I mean,
Just
also,
kidding.
to for being our first review on iTunes.
Oh, she was?
Cornish
So
professor.
Sweet.
Yes. Well, okay, what if we just take this time to I don't know, just gab about tampons?
Okay.
Okay.
How old were you guys when you started using tampons?
I was 21.
No.
Yes.
Did it coincide with
Yeah.
With
when
your-
I was getting finger banged.
when you were getting finger bangs? Okay.
Me too, man.
Me too. But I was 14.
Oh my God.
Okay, so because I remember, trying tampons, not knowing what hole it was.
Yeah, but then once someone
Someone put their finger up there, I go, oh, that hole.
Yes.
Yeah, that hole.
Yes.
Okay.
That's
So funny.
I was 18 and I had the first guy that I kind of sort of dated in college, and I was like, well, I know where my vagina is now.
This is too funny.
That's funny.
Wow. It's so
kinda
sad.
I know.
Yeah.
I'm just
Just if only we had all been
Exploring on
ourselves.
No.
Yeah, this is what I will be teaching if my daughter, if I have a daughter.
Oh, man.
Yeah, it's you figure out your body so that, I guess one positive is I don't really remember a long amount of time where I was like, I don't know how to put this in. I think the first couple times it was a little awkward,
Yeah.
a little dry. I didn't put it up high, enough,
Right.
but because I had a better idea of my body, it was a lot easier.
Because a guy shoved his fingers up there.
He did.
You guys, this is the funniest thing.
That's pretty amazing.
Okay, but
Oh,
okay,
man.
so
I feel like we should say thank you, but I
should we name the people?
I don't know about that.
You know who you are.
I don't know if my person knows who he is because he was a little bit of a player. Okay.
Oh, 14-year-old player.
And I may have been 14 or 15. I don't know. I think, well, because I do also remember trying a bunch before. And my next question to you guys was who taught you or who guided you through it? Obviously, it was the men in our lives that got us there. But did you have a moment with your mom or with any friends?
Nope.
No?
Yeah, it was the instructions in the box.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I definitely remember trying before ever being penetrated.
So your mom never was like coaxed you to use it or
No, she was a pad supporter.
yeah. My mom, I remember, I can't remember if she like was pushing it on me. It sounds like my mom. No, but I do
Get it over with.
Yeah, I remember her advice to me was to relax, to not clench, and to push it up higher than you think it needs to go.
Yeah.
Pro tip, Mom.
advice.
Pro tip.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Push it up.
I remember another,
Push it. Push it real high. Dun, 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 na, 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 na.
So another thing when I was thinking about like what is normal and what do people do with their tampons? How long do you guys keep yours in for typically?
Too long.
I thought you were gonna
Way
say
too
2 days.
Way too long.
Well, here's the thing. I feel like mine fall out a lot. Like if I'm going number 2
Yeah.
or number 3,
Yeah.
they fall out when I push, and
Yeah.
sometimes when I'm not even ready for it to come out yet.
Sometimes
Ah,
me too.
interesting. Powerful kegels. Yeah.
Yeah. Or
That
just
happened
I
to me.
poop a lot.
That happened to me this last cycle.
Do they plop into the toilet?
No, but at that point,
You gotta-
I'm just gonna
Oh.
switch it out if I have.
Not
you're-
to make you guys feel weird. That's never happened to me.
What?
Really?
Yeah.
It happens to me every time I use one.
Really?
Yeah, they always.
Wow.
I mean, maybe I'm using too small of one.
Or you're not
Oh, that
pushing
can be-
it up high enough.
Maybe it doesn't feel like it's that though.
I also just think I have like a super tight vagina.
Humble brag.
Yeah, I'm just getting that impression.
That has to do too with like how your cervix
Sure,
is formed,
sure,
like your
sure.
personal anatomy.
Because there's
your
times when I
angle.
put one
Yeah.
in and then I go to the bathroom and it like comes and I'm like I just put
Oh my
this
god!
in.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah.
But maybe you should try using bigger ones.
Yeah.
Just to see.
Yeah, I think I should use bigger ones.
I bet it honestly has to do with like the tilt too of
Yeah.
your cervix. Yeah.
Do you guys
Interesting.
wait? So how long do you keep them in for typically then?
I mean, literally an entire workday.
That's like 8 hours. That's not so bad.
Yeah, but then like I also sleep in them, so
I
that
sleep
can
in them.
be if my sleep can be kind of inconsistent, so that could be like 10 hours. Like
What about you, Meg?
So I'm so it varies because my days are so kind of like all over the place. So I feel like if it's a super day, if I like pop in a super, then I'll probably keep it in there for a minimum 10 hours.
Wow. Yeah.
wow.
And I don't bleed through, like it typically catches everything, and I know I'm supposed to take it out because of toxic shock syndrome,
Which we'll talk about next episode.
But I find it's just like I don't need to change them as often.
Yeah.
And I never used to sleep with them because I was like, something in my brain was like, that's when you get toxic shock syndrome, when you sleep with your tampon in. I don't know where I got that idea. And only recently have I started sleeping with them because I'm like, oh, it'd be really nice not to like feel all that business happening as you're like rolling around.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, okay, I'll just pop in a light tampon
Yeah.
at night.
Yeah.
Oh, I have a question.
Yeah.
Do you guys flush or put them in the toilet or in the trash?
I'm sad to say that I flush them, and I know I shouldn't.
I was a flusher for many a years, and then I saw one video on Facebook that was like, this is what happens when you flush a tampon. And I was like, oh. So now I'm a wrapper and thrower.
Sometimes I can't help it though, because like they
just pops out.
plop.
Right.
They plop
Oh,
out.
yeah. I feel like you're forgiven.
I'm a thrower away.
That's good. No, that's good. That's the right answer. Ugh,
I mean, but sometimes
I'm ashamed.
How often are you
Don't
guys
be
in
shamed.
How often are you guys in a restroom where there is no
Ugh,
place to
that's
throw
the
them away?
worst. And then you have to carry it out to like the public area.
Possibly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or you have to throw it away in the regular trash and then like cover it with paper towels because you're like, I don't want to make someone uncomfortable.
So here's a gross question. Do you wrap it or do you just...
I wrap it.
Oh, I wrap
okay.
it. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. What about you?
Oh yeah, I wrap it.
You're like, yeah.
But I had a house guest who didn't.
Was it one of us?
No.
Oh God.
Yeah, someone at this
no.
table. No, it was someone I know and love, and I think she was just like, I don't have to cover this. It's not
Wow.
gross, and I'm like, that's like really radical.
How does she know that your cat, may he rest in peace, wasn't gonna like chomp it
go
up?
to town on that?
Yeah. Can we talk about that feeling of when it's too dry in there?
Yes.
Can we talk about that feeling?
Yes.
Fucking worse.
It will bug me all day, and then if it lasts long enough, then I'm just like, fuck it, I'll go without.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
it's better than feeling like I'm constantly
so
like,
terrible.
you
It's
know,
poking and
Yeah.
you have to shift your position.
yeah.
It's so terrible. Also, you guys, my period is back.
Aww.
She was flowing a lot heavier last
Oh,
week.
is anybody recording? We didn't go over that. Okay.
But I feel very low energy.
Oh.
And like I have some body aches, and I just feel like it's probably
coming.
some PMS.
Got it.
What do you guys think about applicators? Or do you guys always use applicators? Because those are bad for the
Yes,
environment
I
too.
know.
No.
Plastic
Yes.
applicators feel so nice on your vagina.
Like, put them in for fun.
Oh my
Well,
God.
kind of.
Compared to.
As we learned, she puts them in preemptively.
Oh my God.
Empty.
But cardboard compared to plastic, there is no comparison. It is
Yeah.
so much smoother. Cardboard feels like a fucking consequence. It feels like Eve's original sin up my vagina.
I feel like I recently made the switch to plastic. Like
Oh, really?
I mean, it maybe wasn't that recently, but recently enough that it was like, oh, pearls. What's a pearl?
Yeah.
And I don't remember the cardboard ever being that terrible.
Really?
So the only thing, the reason I am plastic now is just the initial insertion of it, because it's like the hard edge of
That's
the
true.
cardboard.
That's true.
Where
Terrible.
the fact that the plastic is just curved, but then
Yeah.
sometimes those little teeth of
Yeah.
the pearls,
Yep.
they bite.
I
don't like it.
That's so funny. They bite. That's
My
really funny.
labia minora is not happy.
Yow.
What about like non-applicator tampons, like OBs? Have you guys used
I
those?
rarely use those. Only when it's the only thing available.
So I think I used them for a couple months and was just like, I can do anything.
I can push my finger up there.
Right, and it stays. But then it was like I went to a store and then I saw the box of OBs and then I saw the box of like applicator tampons. I was like, oh, hello, old friend. when I gave them up real fast.
I've only used them when I've been abroad and I don't have anything else. And it's like, I always think that I'm pushing it up as far as it can go. And I'm
Yeah.
like, this time I did it. This
Right.
time it's as far as it can go. And then it's immediately like falling out.
I
And, like,
know.
those applicators really help.
Yeah, they do.
It's so true. And like, I mean, I feel like this is just our episode to get super gross
Let's
and
do
visual.
it.
But like for me, the applicator just saves in period smell on your fingers. Like, you
yeah.
know,
Yeah.
and it's the same thing with the menstrual cup for me where I'm like, if I'm really in there, then my finger smells like period for the
Yeah.
rest of the day, no matter how many times I
It's
wash
like
it.
garlic.
It's
It
just
smells like
lingers.
garlic?
No. It's just,
We got to do an episode on smell.
Oh, we do. No, just that it lingers
Yes.
like garlic.
And I feel
I
like that's
love
not-
the smell of garlic though.
I do.
I love the smell of periods.
Okay, I think that's. Oh, do you guys use scented brands ever?
Ugh.
I don't think
I
so.
don't think I ever
don't
have.
seek them out. Hopefully mine aren't.
Yeah.
And don't you feel like all of your doctors have said avoid
Yeah.
Yes.
scented? So
I
I don't
avoid
even know.
scented everything.
Yeah.
Even like my garbage bags. If they're scented, I'm pissed.
I had a religion teacher in high school once just like randomly tell everyone, like, just so you know, you never need to douche. Your
Yeah.
body is
Yeah.
like naturally going to clean itself out. Never douche.
Right.
And I don't even think it was prompted. I think she was just like,
No one asked.
woman to
It
woman.
was math class.
Don't do it. It was religion class. Like, what are we doing talking about douching?
Maybe she just had a tough night the night before.
Yeah.
She's like,
But-
no matter what they
I
say.
don't know. I carried it with me. Like,
I feel like
Great.
from early on, I remember being told, don't douche. You don't need to.
are there still douching products?
Yeah,
that are
Summer's Eve
sold?
is still going on.
So crazy.
Yeah.
I was gonna ask you
Ugh.
guys, are you very? So I know Meg, you just switched brands to the Target
Yeah, I'm
Organic.
trying it out.
Are you brand loyal or do you switch it up?
I think it's for pads and panty liners. I'm like all over the place. It's like whatever's there, whatever is cheap, whatever is purple. I don't know, whatever.
Right.
Yeah. But I think I'm Tampax. Yeah, Tampax.
Because I've been.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
Because I am typically Tampax Pearl, but then they didn't have my box of like the variety pack.
Okay, so I was gonna ask what kind. Yeah.
Yeah. So because I find now I definitely need all the kinds. So I've been getting variety packs. Forever I was just regular every day and it was fine. So now I need that variety pack. But at the time they didn't have the Tampax brand, so I was like, CVS brand it is. And like maybe it's in my head, but both times I kind of walked away a little itchy.
Oh.
So I'm like, okay. And so I feel like every time I've like tried to switch brands, I'm punished.
Was it
somehow.
called like? Did it look like Tampax, but it was like Tamporks or something? Tormporks.
I mean, that should have been my first red flag.
Yeah.
Tamporks.
Any other things we want to talk about? And it's so good to talk about these
Yes.
Yeah, it is.
things. Especially about the fingering.
I know.
That is wild.
I mean, slightly ashamed, but also I'm sure that's true for so many girls.
If it's true for you, listeners, please tell us.
Yeah.
oh my god, tell
Instagram
us.
or Facebook, or call us on our hotline 9106 uterus. Let us know if when you got to third base, if that's when you found out how to use a tampon.
Because the joy we experienced learning that we all shared that, I want you to have that with someone.
Oh my god.
Vicious, 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 vicious cycle.
Okay, so now that we have learned a little bit about each other's tampon usage, can I tell you guys little fun facts about tampons?
Yes.
Can you guys guess how many tampons the average American bleeder uses in her lifetime?
11,000.
Wow. I'm going to guess 3,460.
Meg Hayes is close. It's more than 16,000.
Oh my.
You guys, I also did research.
Well, you were still wrong.
My research said 11 to 15,000.
Okay, I got more than 16, around 16 or 17. So there aren't a ton of recent numbers out there about the usage of pads versus tampons in America, but the CDC found in a study conducted between 2001 and 2004 that more American menstruators use pads than tampons. So more pads purchased, and also a market research company tracked the purchase of American bleeders between the ages of 12 and 54, and they found that more Americans bought more pads than tampons as well. So pads are more in use.
So I have two thoughts.
Okay.
One,
Tell me.
I think Americans are we have a weird relationship with sex and our like genitalia
Yeah.
anyway. So I feel like people avoid putting things up them.
Okay.
But I also think like, so I'm someone who purchases tampons and liners. So I wonder if like,
Oh, that's true.
you
So this
know?
study did mention that it overlapped the two, so it didn't distinguish people that only purchase one or the other. So you could have checked both
Got
boxes,
it.
but more
More
people
people
bought pads.
checked pads.
But tampon consumption in America is among the highest in the world. So
Wow.
out of 81 countries in that study that tracked purchasing, only 2 other countries had higher tampon purchasing than America. Can you guess which countries?
The UK and France.
No. You guessed 2.
Okay. Denmark and Ukraine.
No, but interesting. It's Germany and Austria. So those are the only 2 countries, according to the study, that buy more tampons than Americans.
Really?
But Americans are up there as well.
Wow.
Meanwhile, not even one tampon on average is sold each year to women in Nigeria, the UAE, Turkey, Kenya, Morocco, and Thailand.
Wow.
So that's a whole thing. We're going to do an episode on
Wowzers.
cultural taboos of tampons, but that's interesting. And so as much as the 3 of us, we're a pro tampon podcast, I think
Yeah.
the 3 of us use tampons, they're not globally used a bunch. So that's interesting. to
Very
know
interesting.
As we continue our journey of tampons. So I wanted to do a history of the tampon and basically the history of putting absorbent cloth up your hoo-ha. As long as there have been people bleeding, there have been basically versions of tampons and pads, but I want to talk about the tampons. So in ancient Egypt, it is generally assumed that ancient Egyptian women fashioned a sort of tampon from papyrus or other grass.
Okay.
And Indonesian women are believed to have used vegetable fibers to stop menstrual flow. And rolls of grass are said to have been used in parts of Africa. And ancient Japanese women apparently made tampons out of paper. So
Seems scratchy.
yeah, so as long as there has been uterine lining coming out of us, there have been ways to stop it.
Plug it
Stuff
up
it up.
like a leak.
Yeah. But what I found was really interesting is that a lot of times tampons were used more to stop things from getting in more than getting out.
Interesting.
So from like a health perspective or as a contraception tool. Because the modern word tampon is actually derived from the Middle French word for plug. So the word tampon can be used for other things besides like a vaginal tampon.
Would it be pronounced
Interesting.
tampon?
Tampon?
Tampon.
Wow, we're offensive.
Very good.
So
French
sorry we
accent.
offended all of our French listeners.
Yeah. So, for instance, back in the 4th century, the Kama Sutra actually recommended the use of tampons made out of oil and rock salt as a contraceptive device.
What?
Because rock salt is a spermicide.
Wow.
And yeah. And back in ancient Egypt, the Ebers Papyrus, which was an ancient medical document, it actually recommended that women with unusual vaginal discharge put crushed up earth from the Nile with honey in them with like a wad of linen to like stop the discharge and keep it inside her. Yeah.
Wow.
So again, like it was sort of used as like a health tool, like to stop weird bleeding or weird discharge.
Yeah.
Like a mix between a tampon and a douche or
Kind
something?
of, I guess, yeah. In ancient Greece, I read that tampons soaked in everything from goose fat to opium would be shoved up women to stop vaginal
Goose fat.
bleeding. Yeah.
I would stick opium up me. I feel like that would help me sleep.
You know what? It's the only
It
one way to
might.
find
Don't
out.
knock it till you try it.
So it's like
You guys get out of here. I need to try something.
it just sounds like a lot of times, like if something was wrong with the woman, they would just like shove stuff
Shove
up her.
things up her.
Yeah.
I don't know. Try this. A little bit of this, a little bit of that.
More
but-
earth. More earth.
I have some extra goose fat. Let's try this out.
But as we get into the more modern era, like the 18th century, we see that tampons were used for everything basically but menstruation still. So a 1776 report from a French doctor described tampons made from tightly rolled vinegar-soaked linen that was used to stem the flow of vaginal discharge.
I might pass out during this during this episode.
Yep. In 1822, an English writer, I don't know, it's funny, I was like, who was he? Was he a doctor? He's just a writer. He wrote in a paper about the use of tampons as a means of contraception and suggested they could be made of lint, flax, cotton, or wool. And this, again, just people being like, let's try some wool up her
Throw it
hoo-ha.
in.
You're just
Up, yeah.
sticking a tampon inside of you and
stop the
as
woman from
well
getting pregnant.
as a penis.
I know.
Yeah, I'm trying to understand how this would work. I
What
guess
in the world?
just-
See, I wonder
soak
if
it up.
it must not have been as like long and. I mean, I feel like
it was more like a sponge.
or a
Yeah,
diaphragm
that's what-
or something.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah,
That's what I'm picturing.
yeah.
Oy vey. Wow.
Side note, would not want to time travel.
No,
Yeah,
On my
not
period.
interested.
But in 1879, the British Medical Journal published an article about something called Dr. Aveling's vaginal tampon tube, which turns out is the closest thing that we know to a modern tampon. It had like an applicator and it was like a tube-like thing.
So the modern tampon was founded in the UK. in
No, I
Britain?
mean it's unclear if this was like, it was not clear if it was ever sold or used
I
like
see.
outside of hospitals or like for the average woman, but it was called Dr. Aveling's vaginal tampon tube, and there's a screenshot of the journal of the time, and this is what it says. I'll show you a picture too. It just shows like a tube and some cotton.
Yeah.
And it says, it consists, I'm going to talk like this.
Old
I don't
timey,
know
of
why.
course.
Fine.
Old timey talk. It consists of a small unsilvered glass vaginal speculum with a wooden rod. And besides being cheap, it is simple and clean. And then it says, it is made by tying 3 or 4 pledges of cotton wool in a row with a piece of fine string or stout thread. And for removal, one end is to be left long enough to hang out of the vagina. So basically,
a glass.
a glass tube and a wooden
Tube.
rod.
Don't do your Kegels while you're inserting it.
So it's, again, like I said, it's unclear if this was used like by everyday women or just in hospitals. But yeah, and then we come to the 20th century, and What we do know for sure is that the cardboard applicator tampon was developed and patented in 1931 by a Colorado doctor named Earl Haas. And by 1933, he had the patent. He combined the words tampon and vaginal packs, and he called his product Tampax.
Interesting.
I wonder where the packs came from.
Vaginal packs, like P-A-C-K-S. Like packing, I guess.
Oh, ew. Yep.
Yeah.
I'm just
and-
doing Kegels
I know
during
this
this
whole time.
entire
Yeah, yep.
episode.
My-
I'm like, no.
Goose fat? Nope.
Nope.
Nope. Nope.
Keep it. No.
Paper. And the first ad was published in the American Weekly, July 29th, 1936. Full page ad. Welcome this new day for womanhood. Sanitary protection worn internally. And it's a whole full page ad basically telling women that they'll be dainty and comfortable. And then, side note, the no applicator tampon kind, the OB, was invented by a German gynecologist named Judith Esser-Mittag. And the OB stands for the German no pad. So OB ohne Binde, which means no pad. And that's where OB tampon comes from.
Oh.
And yeah. So that's a little brief history of the tampon, from papyrus to goose fat to some dude named Earl. Who knew?
Who knew?
Vicious, 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 vicious cycle.
Going off of Kate's bleed search.
We're drinking.
I've had half a beer. So going off of your research, I was looking at the vintage to closer to modern day marketing of tampons to the masses.
I'm so excited.
It is, I mean, it's funny because some of like the things that I found were like kind of lovely, and I was like, oh, I wonder why we didn't just keep on with that. And others are just so condescending and gross. So this one is actually for a pad, but I had to read it.
Okay.
Leaking? Permit our new Unspeakables disposable hygienic underbandage to gently absorb milady's foul drippings.
Wait, stop. We're changing
So
our
gross.
name of our podcast to Milady's
Milady's
Foul
drippings.
Oh, so gross.
Shit!
Yeah.
That's my new
Wait.
drag name.
What year is this?
So I believe this is from
1990.
the 30s. I tried to find. So this was from the Mitchell Hygiene Company in Grayson, Ohio. It looks like there's no trace of them on the internet. So
Okay.
they must have just been a super. But look at how oldie-timey it looks.
Yikes.
Under bandage.
yeah.
I feel like this could even be for like
Milady's foul
Milady's-
drippings.
Well, definitely
Foul
pads were
drippings.
around for a lot longer commercially before tampons. So
Right.
that could have been from like way
the
earlier.
1800s, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's gross. So I feel like most marketing started around the 30s, and there were themes that have traveled throughout the decades. One being like freedom, like to, be who you are and not be like in the 50s, it's you can still go to the dance with the boy, and in the 70s, it's like you can, and there's this great ad that's like, you can be your weird kooky self, free love. So I feel like that's definitely a theme.
You can go to them all until hang out with Valerie. Like, I just think even throughout the ages, like that would be the
Yeah.
80s. Like,
You can totally roller skate with no problem.
Okay, so I found these ads from the 30s. I think this might have been the first Tampax ad.
Okay, Tampax for tampons.
Yes. And the headline is, Tampax makes life worth living.
Whoa, that's a bold statement.
Wow. In case you were considering things, try Tampax.
Jesus.
Yeah, and then so I feel like another theme was either this fear of being less feminine or less, or also maintaining your daintiness. I saw
Yes,
daintiness.
dainty. That word
a
came
lot.
up a lot.
So your fear of lost daintiness at times. This new way that scientifically solves a real hygienic problem will end it. And then
It's funny that all these ads are like, I mean, this is just like of the time. Like, they make like full page newspaper ads.
Right.
And I think that's twofold. It's like advertisements were longer and more wordy.
Yeah.
You know, they weren't trying to like, there wasn't like the modern advertising as we know it, but it was also like, this was new for
Right.
women. It was like, we need to take out a full page ad and like remind her that like the American Medical Association is on board. Your doctor's cool with it. Like this is not, you know, buy this product. It's good for you.
Right. Yeah.
Like it's not going to make you crazy.
And yeah, just spelling out all the ways that it's safe and that you should try it. And like Kotex was a big advertiser, especially early on. And like this early ad for their tampons, I'm pretty sure this is for tampons. Their big sell is that it protects and deodorizes.
Because you might be smelly.
Because you might be disgusting. So then in the 40s, one of the Kotex brands of tampons was called Fibs. Which is like, all right. And then this whole campaign is, can you trust tampons? Well, they're called Fibs, which means lies.
I'm going with the
What
no.
are we supposed to believe?
Is it sort of to be like you can fib, you can have a tampon in.
Maybe they definitely don't have fun with the title.
What is it? Does it stand for something?
I don't know. I never found it. All I found was this. It's like a name you can trust. Fibs are the Kotex
name you can trust?
Yeah, I know. It doesn't make any. It's like some dudes are just laughing in the back, like this is ridiculous. Fibs are the Kotex tampons that merit your confidence, and with Fibs you can change to shorts, play suit, or even a swimsuit. So like. They were like, freedom to continue having fun. Also, full dozen, only 20 cents.
Wow.
A dozen tampons for 20
cents.
Sounds good to me.
Yeah.
Also, what's a play suit?
I have no idea. Sounds so fun.
Question. Play suit.
I want. Also in the 40s through like 70s, there was a brand called Modest. And they had this ad campaign that was called Modest, ... because. And they found... and it was... because.
That should be the ad for everything. Volkswagen.
Because. So simple.
Stouffer's frozen meals.
Because. Aladdin bail bonds. Because. So then moving to the 50s, there's a new pattern that I found interesting, which was, will a tampon take your virginity?
Oh,
So a lot of... like,
I'm sure that question was raised before, right?
Probably.
Yeah.
But I feel like they were like, we should probably address this so like teenagers know they can use tampons. So this one's headline is, of course unmarried girls can use Percets.
Percets.
So Percet's another brand, and it's like the OB. It doesn't have an applicator, but it had lubricated tips.
that sounds nice.
See, I was like,
My
it should
face
sound
is like-
grossed out.
but I'm like Kate, or I was like, gross. I don't know why. I'm already lubed up with blood. So
Yeah.
like,
Yeah,
I
unless
just
you wear it preemptively.
you think it sounds nice.
You're like, I'd wear it all the time. Listen, you never know.
Yeah, and then there was another one from the 80s that dealt with that same thing, but it's this long, like personal story of a Tampax ad. May I read it to you?
Yeah. Wait,
Yeah,
it's
of
okay.
course.
Also, it looks like it's from the 80s.
Yes.
It's like very like
yeah.
neon colors.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
People dressed very Cape Cod
A
casual.
lot of blazers.
So headline, are you sure I'll still be a virgin? I really wanted to use tampons, but I'd heard you had to be, experienced. So I asked my friend Lisa. Her mom is a nurse.
Of course you asked Lisa.
Lisa. Classic experienced Lisa.
Fucking Lisa.
Her mom is a nurse, so I figured she'd know. Lisa told me she'd been using Pedal Soft plastic applicator Tampax tampons since her very first period, and she's a virgin. I was totally psyched to try Pedal Soft Tampax because I really hated pads. And now I can't believe I waited so long. The first thing you notice is the rounded tip on the plastic applicator. That's what makes them so easy to put in. Anyways,
It's interesting they have to like keep like over the decades keep selling a new like round of women on these
yes.
Yeah.
products.
Yeah.
Right.
And there's, because I was looking at a site, it's mum.org, and they have just like a huge resource of information. But there was one brand, I believe it was Perset's, that was marketing to both moms and daughters. Like, moms, choose this brand to teach your daughter about tampons. I was like, well, that's kind of
Was
nice.
there ever an ad aimed at men?
So my miscellaneous ad is, I suffered from menstrual cramps, featuring a picture of a grumpy looking dude.
Wait, when is this from? Do you know?
I believe it's from the 40s.
Okay.
I suffered from menstrual cramps. I feel sorry for any woman who suffers from menstrual pain, but I also feel sorry for her husband.
Oh, like he suffered from being on the receiving end. Dick.
Cramps, headaches, and body aches used to make my wife so depressed, so irritable that I suffered through those bad days each month too.
Oh my god.
I was just like, fuck you. So this is an ad for Femicin.
What? What? It comes in a pink bottle
Medicine
with
for her.
Femicid.
Stop
Femicin.
it.
So upsetting.
Also, it sounds like femicide.
Stop.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Femicin.
Yep. So
Yeah.
Oh my god.
that-
Interesting. I love the trend of through the decades and how it's like always this. It's like a little bit the same. It's like reminding women that they're not gonna be disgusting for.
I mean, and like
I also read that like the idea of putting it, people were afraid that women would be turned on by putting it up there, and like there was like
and that's
a lot
unacceptable.
Yeah. Oh, you know what I also read too that I thought was really interesting, that tampon use went up during World War II. Like Tampax sales exploded because women went into the workforce and needed a more like manageable way to handle their menstruation.
Interesting.
Yeah. So that's when Tampax like went off the shelves.
Yeah.
So maybe it wasn't. So maybe by the 50s, it was sort of this idea of like, wait, should we be using these?
Yeah, right.
Are we virgins still?
So I also found a couple video ads for tampons, one from the 70s and one from the 80s.
Oh, heck yeah.
And I found, I'm pretty sure they weren't doing like television ads for tampons until around that time. I really couldn't find any like thing older than that. So I feel like it always might have been like a print thing and maybe more like considered a medical
Informational ad. Yeah.
I just discovered something great. It's Rely, a new tampon from Procter & Gamble. It's really different and better. Rely is a major improvement in tampons, so it's a major improvement in feminine protection. But don't take my word for it. Find out for yourself what makes Rely so new and different. Read the ads in your favorite magazines this month. They'll tell you all about Rely. It's really a better tampon. Remember, they named it Rely.
Remember, it's not a fib. It's Rely.
Also, just to paint a picture for those at home, that woman was dressed in a very smart Irish sweater, and I believe she was on Quaaludes.
On the beach.
Hi.
The vocabulary in that was so simple. It made me feel like an idiot. Like, it's great and fun and nice and safe.
It's
and
called
good.
Rely. Don't forget, it's called Rely.
Like,
Rely
you can
on.
rely on it. Okay, lady.
Okay, and then this is
boy.
an ad. It's from the 80s. It's for OB, and there's just this one moment that kills me.
Okay.
Okay.
It really showcases all the amazing things you can do while wearing a tampon.
Oh, great.
Yay. Like square dancing?
And some.
Oh the way you should be.
Oh my God.
Keep it simple and set yourself
She's
free.
jump roping.
You're talking on the phone.
You can talk on the phone with a tampon? Get out of
OB
here.
tampons are rolled in layers for the most reliable protection you can get. So set yourself free.
OB, it's the way you should be. Just try OB and you'll see.
Keep it simple and set yourself free with OB tampons.
But before I just love, she like holds the phone up to her and she's like, oh. And I'm like, yeah, you could always talk on the phone.
Talking on the phone was always an option, even when you're leaking on yourself. It's always an option. That's really funny. Thanks, Meg.
Of course, thank
Those
you.
are
That was
so
a fun
fun.
assignment.
Huh, man. As long as there have been people bleeding, there have been people trying to sell us shit to
Right.
put up ourselves. We haven't done a read my labias in a long time.
This is true.
That is true.
5, 6, 7, 8.
Read my labias.
Read my labias.
Read my labias.
Read my labias.
labias.
It's slightly different every
It
time.
really is. For those of you
It always will be.
For those of you just joining us, this is the segment where we rant about society, patriarchal and otherwise.
We have so much to talk about.
Do we?
I will start.
Go, Meg, go.
Excellent.
So Meg T brought up Nanette in a previous episode, I believe. Yes, a previous episode.
Yeah.
And I watched Nanette twice, and I just feel like she really has flipped the medium on its head, and it just got me to thinking that the typical form of stand-up that we know is mostly created by men. And I think women have fit into that box, but the typical like setup of what stand-up is very male-oriented. And I just appreciated that a woman was like, you actually are not going to feel totally comfortable this whole time.
Yeah.
You know, and like, I'm not fearful of being serious sometimes. Because I feel like the three of us hang out with a lot of comedians, some comics, and there are a lot of very immature men in that world.
So true.
That feel uncomfortable, like being serious and not just doing bits all day. I'm just really here for like this new wave of stand-up. Like Cameron Esposito, for example, has a new special called Rape Jokes, where she basically like reclaims rape jokes.
Yeah.
And she talks about being a survivor herself. So like, I feel like I'm just going to make a blanket statement that like, it seems like women feel comfortable being like, we're going to have serious bits and I'll still make you laugh.
Yeah.
But like, I don't feel so self-conscious that I can't be like real with you. So
So
that
read,
was like
read my labias. You're done with
I'm done with
Like
the
lazy
old
male comics.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah. I'm
so
done
on
with
board.
the old format. I'm so excited for new
Cool.
formats like
Yay.
this. Yeah. That was like a plug and a read my labia.
Yeah.
A tampon, if you will. Plug.
A tampon.
I'm in a tampon, a new band.
Excuse me real quick while I tampon my new book.
Shameless tampon.
Do you have one?
Yeah, mine's really quick. I am really, read my labias. I'm really tired of men in my office actualing me over our messaging system, which is we use Slack at my office. And it's so lazy. It has happened to me 2 or 3 times now when we have like random channels where we sort of, or company wide, where it's just like, it goes out to the whole company. And I'll write something like, one time I wrote, hey guy, it's so stupid. It's so dumb, but how to make like subtitles on YouTube, how to use the YouTube platform to make a subtitle file. And because I was doing it, and I know a lot of our teams needed to have subtitles on their videos. So I was like, I made a really quick, easy Google Doc. Here it is. Everyone use it.
Yeah.
I was taking initiative because people were coming up to me and asking me how to do this. So I made a
you're a
document
boss.
and I shared it. As soon as I slacked that out and shared that document, one of the guys in my office just like linked to a YouTube video about how to do it. Like without any comment, just like, oh, or maybe he was like, oh, and then there's this. I was like, yeah, but I also made a whole instructional document about this. And for you to be like, oh, here's also how you do it. It's like, cool.
Thanks for the support.
Thanks for the support. And then it happened again with like me asking, I was trying to figure out how to get a certain plugin to be able to transcribe media. It's very stupid and complicated, but like I slacked everyone and go, hey, producers, who out there transcribes interviews, and do you have this certain plugin? For some reason it's not working on this program. And a creative guy, not even a producer, slacked me back like a copy pasted search. Like he had Googled the question and copy pasted it for me. And I was like, yeah, I did that. I know also how to Google. I do know how to Google. I actually went to Google first. Then I went to the producers. Or I don't think you're a producer either. So like, I don't need this
Oh my God.
copy pasted Google search because I did that.
so patronizing
Yes.
to be like,
It's so patronizing.
go to Google.
Right.
Yeah, here's
let me
what I
Google that for
found
you.
when I snuck my nose into this conversation and Googled it for you.
Right.
Because you probably didn't. It's like, no, I did. Thank you. Read my
read my
labias.
labias.
Man.
Good gravy.
Mine is really short, and I'm not even really angry about it. I'm more empowered a little bit.
We can get you there.
Okay, get me angry. Well, so I was at the theater, and I was chatting with some of the performers and other actor types. We're just schmoozing, and someone was like, "Oh yeah, Meg hosts a podcast," and he's like, "Oh, that's cool. What's your podcast about?" It's like, "It's about menstruation," and he was just silenced for at least 30 seconds.
Yeah.
He just like looked at me and then kind of looked around, and I was like, is he trying to remember what menstruation means? And then like finally he kind of got himself together. He was like, that's good. That's good. And I was like, okay, cool, good talk. Like, you can't find a way to have a conversation about this? All right, my dude.
Read my labias.
Read my labias. Don't be
Guys,
weirded out by
get
menstruation.
on board.
That wraps up this episode's Read My Labias.
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 Labias.
All right.
I love the way we just say it so soft.
I know. So that's our episode. I hope you guys enjoyed all of our amazing gabbing about tampons, how we learned so much about each other, and about the history of tampons and the history of marketing. Super, super fascinating. As always, call us 9106-UTERUS if you want to share any stories or questions or anything. We'd love to hear from you. Rate us on iTunes, subscribe to us, all those fun things, and tell everyone you know to listen to Vicious Cycle. And next week, we'll be talking about the health and safety of tampons and what the heck is actually in our tampons. Spoiler alert, it's distressing.
It's not great.
So remember, everybody,
Keep calm.
and tampon.
Bye. Bye.
It may be primal, it may be vital, but it makes you homicidal. It's a vicious, it's a vicious, it's a vicious cycle.
Our theme song was performed by The Go Ahead. Check out more at thegoaheadmusic.com.